a do not track button coming to Yahoo this summer, hopefully, but it might not be a button. Anyway, we've got Jen Valentino-DeVries here on the set with us to tell us about the do not track button that I want, and apparently it's coming, but it might not be a button.
Right. It's unclear exactly what it will be. Right now, a lot of the major web browsers have a switch that you can go into your privacy settings and kind of indicate that you don't want companies to track you. And it sends out a little signal from your browser telling companies, I don't want to be tracked. And kind of the thing is that most companies now are not honoring this request yet. And what Yahoo announced today is that they are going to honor this do not track mechanism. It's unclear exactly how it will be implemented. So whether there will be a button or exactly what will happen is also unclear exactly what they mean by not tracking you, because this is a big argument. I think a lot of the advertisers want do not track to mean that they are simply not going to show you behaviorally targeted ads. But then privacy advocates and some at the Federal Trade Commission say that they want do not track to mean we're not going to gather this data about you either. So they're kind of arguing back and forth about what it means.
I'm taking a step back right now. This comes as the FTC is pressuring Congress to pass do not track privacy legislation, so this wouldn't necessarily be optional potentially going forward. This would be something that would be regulated. What are some of the other companies right now that have jumped aboard and said that they would implement do not track features or buttons?
Well, honestly, a lot of the major advertising companies have said that they will implement this by the end of this year. Yahoo is actually going to be doing this by sometime this summer, they say. And then there are some firms already that are honoring it, but they're certainly, if you compare them with Yahoo or all of the major advertising companies, they're not as large. So this news from Yahoo is pretty important. The firms that are honoring it now include the Associated Press actually has kind of a network. So but it's not on the same level as the number of viewers who go to Yahoo is
which is huge.
Really
I mean,
huge.
they have massive site traffic. I mean, what do you think? Button or mechanism? Mechanism you have to hunt for?
I think
big button.
I think making it as easy as possible for consumers is a good way, first of all, to implement it, and secondly, a good way for probably some of these companies to stay out of hot water, truthfully. Part of the, some of the complaints in the past have been that these do not track mechanisms, while they may exist now, or as they may exist now, are very difficult for the average consumer to find. They can be buried in web browsers or buried on websites, and I think having a button that's very visible and people can very easily understand this is how I prevent third-party advertisers from tracking me would be very useful personally. That's just my thought on that.
And do you think this will be a competitive advantage for Yahoo?
I think that this is something that users may want before they go to a site, and I think a lot of it is has to do with publicity, and there's a lot of attention being focused on this, regulatory attention and so forth. As for whether users would stop going to Yahoo if they didn't honor this, I think that that probably isn't the case. I mean, studies have shown that users care about privacy, but it's not something necessarily that they think about all the time, and that stops them from doing something unless it's completely obvious that something's amiss, which it isn't in most cases.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. Jen Valentino-DeVries.